So we're going to jump into Stephen Bradshaw's opening evidence to the Post Office Horizon IT inquiry. And he's taken through one of his witness statements where he essentially says, even though he's had involvement in lots and lots of different cases over the course of 24 years in the security team of a total 45-year career at the Post Office starting in 1978, that all the investigations were run professionally at all times. He has nothing further to add on reflection in that, and firmly points the finger directly at board level of the Post Office and Fujitsu for not disclosing any issues with the Horizon software to them at any point up to the current day. Let's jump into the inquiry.
If you repeat after me. I swear by Almighty God.
I swear by Almighty God.
That the evidence I shall give.
That the evidence I shall give.
Shall be the truth.
Shall be the truth.
The whole truth.
The whole truth.
And nothing but
and
the
nothing
truth.
but the truth.
Thank you.
Mr. Blake, I think before you ask Mr. Bradshaw questions, he is in a category of witness where it is appropriate for me to give what's called the self-incriminating warning. Is that correct?
That is correct, sir, yes.
Can I ask you, first of all, Mr. Bradshaw, are you legally represented today?
Yes.
Right, thank you. So you probably know that under our law, a witness at a public inquiry has the right to decline to answer a question put to him, either by counsel to the inquiry or by any legal representative, or for that matter by me, if there is a risk that the answer to that question would incriminate the witness. This legal principle is known in shorthand form as the privilege against self-incrimination. Mr. Bradshaw, I have decided that it is appropriate that I remind you of that principle before you begin your evidence. However, it is for you to make clear to me, in respect of any question put to you, that it is you who wish to rely upon the privilege, and not for me to keep interrupting, if you understand. If, therefore, any questions are put to you by any of the lawyers who ask you questions, or, as I have said, by me, which you do not wish to answer, on the ground that to answer might incriminate you, you must tell me immediately so that I can consider your objection and then after rule upon whether your objection should be upheld. Now, you've just told me that you are represented here today by a lawyer or lawyers. So if the issue relating to self-incrimination arises, I will permit those lawyers to assist you. So if at any stage during the questioning you wish to consult your lawyers, then you must tell me, and then I'll consider how it's appropriate to proceed. All right?
Yes,
Do you understand all that?
I understand, and thank you.
Thank you very much. Over to you.
So it's not the first time that the self-incrimination warning's been given, although it's certainly not given all the time, and we've rarely seen it deployed by a witness. Jan Elsing, I think, deployed it once, but apart from that, I can't remember anybody else deploying it that we've looked at so far. So it will be interesting to see whether Stephen Bradshaw uses it at all during these proceedings.
Mr. Blake.
Thank you very much. Can you give your full name, please?
Stephen Bradshaw.
Thank you. Mr. Bradshaw, could I ask you to come slightly forward towards the microphones? A stenographer is also taking a note, so if you could speak as slowly and carefully as possible. Thank you. You have produced 2 witness statements in this inquiry so far. They should be in a bundle in front of you. The first witness statement, we have a URN of WITN 04450100, and that should be behind the first of those tabs. Do you have that in front of you?
I do, yes.
Thank you. Is that statement dated the 26th of June of 2023?
That's correct.
Thank you. Could I ask you to turn to page 14 of that statement, please?
Yes,
Do you see your signature there?
I do.
Yes. And can you confirm that that statement is true to the best of your knowledge?
That is my signature, yes.
Thank you. And we have a second statement.
Did he not want to confirm that it was true and accurate to the best of his belief? I mean, by affixing his signature to his own witness statement, I guess he has done that, and they're going through the usual, is this your statement? And is this your signature? And then obviously when the inquiry ask him about things, they know that his testimony to the inquiry is saying this is both truthful and accurate, and it is my statement, so he can be held accountable, presumably, on what is said within it.
The unique reference number is WITN 04450200. That should be in a tab behind that statement.
It is.
And that's dated the 16th of October 2023, is that correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. And if I could ask you to turn to page 8.
Yes,
Do you see your signature there?
I do.
And can you confirm that that statement is true to the best of your knowledge and belief?
It is. That's my signature.
Thank you very much. Those statements will be published on the inquiry's website and they're now in evidence.
Interesting. I don't know whether I'm reading too much into this potentially, but he was quite keen to point out that is my signature. I mean, I think on the second one he did say yes, and yes, that is my signature, which implies that he is saying it is truthful and accurate to the best of his knowledge and belief. He seemed potentially a little bit more reluctant to say that on the first one, but it might just be the choice of words and phraseology that he's using.
I want to begin just by asking you a little bit about your background at the Post Office. You've been employed by the Post Office since 1978, is that correct?
That's correct.
You've held a wide range of roles. I think we've seen something called a telegraph officer and a counter clerk in the 1970s and 1980s, is that right?
Correct.
You were something called a television inquiry officer in the mid to late 1980s.
That's correct, yes.
You held various roles in the Royal Mail Transport section.
Correct.
And then in 2000, around the time of the rollout of Horizon, you became part of the Post Office investigations team.
That's correct.
We see your role variously described as a fraud investigator and a security manager. Can you please assist us with which of those you were at a particular time, insofar as you're able?
From the beginning in 2000, the role was always there as an investigation manager, fraud advisor. The role remained the same of investigation, but the job title changed. And as it's rolled on towards the present day, it's just been changed to just security manager.
So you are currently employed by the Post Office as a security manager, having held a number of roles in the investigations team. I think it was first called a fraud investigator.
That's correct, yes.
Thank you. You've spent over 45 years at the Post Office.
I have.
That's an awful long time, should presume, after all this time, and particularly, 24 years and counting in the security side of things, the fraud investigation. He's clearly well experienced in the role.
We're going to deal in due course with what you knew at any particular time, but just in terms of your career, is it right to say that you've been at the Post Office from the beginning of complaints about the Horizon system through to the Justice for Sub-Postmasters campaign, the group litigation, Court of Appeal, overturning of convictions, and up to and including this inquiry itself?
I was enrolled within Post Office Limited, yes.
Yes. I'd like to bring onto screen your first witness statement, and that is WITN 04450100. And can we please turn to page 15 of that statement? We see from page 15, and if perhaps we could scroll over the page and over, we see all the documents that you were provided with in order to produce that statement. I think there are over 200 documents in total. Do you recall?
I've seen the documents and I've done my best to try and look fully on each one.
And if we look at page 14, it stops at 14, so there are 14 pages of evidence in that statement. The statement itself addresses various case studies that we're going to be looking at today. Can we just turn to page 7, please? At the bottom of page 7, we begin with a case study of the case of Janet Skinner. And if we go over the page 8, paragraph 21 and 22, 21 says, "There were no concerns. The investigation was conducted in a professional manner at all times." 22, "I do not have any other reflections about this matter." Page 9, over the page.
Yeah.
We have Huey Noel Thomas. Again, paragraph 25, "There were no concerns. The investigation was conducted in a professional manner at all times." 26, "I have no other reflections about this matter." Next, scroll down the page, case of Khayyam Ishaq.
Yes.
And if we scroll over the page, same form of words, 28 and 29, "There were no concerns. The investigation was conducted in a professional manner at all times. I have no other reflections about this matter.
So he's certainly confident in his role and in the investigation as a whole, that they were conducted properly, and that he's got nothing else further to say in terms of his opinion on the overall case in that. So that's fairly conclusive.
Further down that page, we get to the case of Lisa Brennan, paragraph 33. There were no concerns. The investigation was conducted in a professional manner at all times. Over the page, please.
Yeah.
I have no other reflections about this matter. Lynette Hutchings, another case study. Paragraph 37, I could see no concerns about the conduct of this case. I have no other reflections about this matter.
I mean, it's certainly clear at this early stage that he's been involved in an awful lot of cases, which I guess isn't been surprising over the span of a 45-year career.
Scrolling down to Joan Bailey, paragraph 40, there were no concerns. The investigation was conducted in a professional manner at all times. We scroll down. I have no other reflections about this matter. The case of Angela Sefton, paragraph 43, no concerns. Paragraph 44, no other reflections. Scrolling down, case of Anne Neild. If we keep on going down, paragraph 46, no concerns. Paragraph 47, no reflections. Susan McKnight, paragraph 49, no concerns. Paragraph 50, no reflections. Could we go over the page, please, to page 14, paragraph 54. I don't know what technical issues were investigated by the Post Office. Paragraph 56. I can't recall, if any, what information I received concerning bugs, errors, and defects in the Horizon system. Paragraph 57. I do not have any reflections on this matter or other matters relevant to the terms of reference.
So if we sum all that up, basically every investigation across a wide range of cases was conducted professionally at all times, and I don't know about any technical issues whatsoever with the Horizon system.
Do you think that you have given enough thought over the past 20 years as to whether you may have been involved in what has been described as one of the largest miscarriages of justice in British history?
It would appear that through not being given any knowledge from the top downwards, that if any bugs, errors or defects was there, is not being cascaded down from Fujitsu, the Post Office board, down to our level as the investigation manager.
I mean, we have heard previously from other witnesses of a similar level, I believe, that actually they were aware, whether officially or unofficially, discussions in the teams about certain issues there. But certainly that's the most direct statement upwards that we've heard, really, from any witness, clearly pointing the finger up to the higher echelons of the Post Office, saying, well, there were these issues, potentially, but if there were, it was their fault and they didn't tell us.
So it's your evidence that because you didn't receive any information about bugs, errors and defects from somebody higher above you in the Post Office, you don't have any reflections on that?
I would see the Horizon system. I have no reason to suspect at the time that there was anything wrong with the Horizon system because we've not been told.
And that's over the time of your entire career at the Post Office?
That's correct.
Up till date when you drafted this witness statement and perhaps even up to today's date?
Correct, yes.
Do you think that the approach that you've taken to providing information to the inquiry, what looks like giving the bare minimum, was quite similar to the way that you approached your investigations?
No, not at all. I tried my best with the statements of what support. I can't put something down. If I wasn't told about any issues with the Horizon system, I can't put that down. The investigations were done correctly.
And that's because you weren't told anything about problems with the Horizon
The investigation was done at the time. No problems were indicated by anybody that there was issues with the Horizon system.